So, happen to notice that over in China, there's this thing called Evergrande thing.
Yes.
Right? And it seems like this big splashy deal. And of course, it's going to get attention because it's going to get my curiosity because it's something that you watch. So, what's up with that? What's going on there?
Yes. So, actually, fears over this company defaulting, also known as going bankrupt, came out, was it yesterday or the day before? And the market fell at one point by about 1,000 points in the US. Why would a Chinese company defaulting have anything to do with the United States stock markets?
Right.
This company is intertwined in the entire Chinese real estate market. They're, I think, the second biggest developer in all of China. And they have $305 billion worth of debt.
Holy cow. 300 billion, did you say? I'm trying to look it up right now. I'm going to put it on in our thing. Let's see. Here's one.
Yes.
I can share this one.
They have so much debt that, according to one of the articles I saw, they account for 16% of all public company debt in China.
Yikes.
Yes.
Okay. So what happens if they default?
So if they default, the fear is this could lead to a Lehman Brothers type situation, which kind of set off the financial crisis in 2007, 2008 timeframe. Why is there fears of that? Because they are so intertwined into the entire property development market in China. Not only are they the second largest property developer in China, but real estate and real estate development make up a huge part of GDP in China because of their rapid acceleration from a quote unquote third world country into a modern economy, and their vision to catch up with the United States and other countries in the last, 30, 40 years, something like that. If this company defaults, the fear is that it would crush not only the entire real estate market in China, because they're so intertwined in everything, but there's a fear that it could cause banks to fail because they have so much debt and they owe so much money to people. Again, 16% in one article I saw of all public stock debt is owned by this one company. So if 16%, or if this company defaults, that means 16% of loans go into default.
Done. Just like that. Holy crap.
And I don't remember what the numbers were for Lehman Brothers back in 2007, 2008 timeframe, but it wasn't even close to 16%. And that ended up causing what is now known as the global financial crisis.
Wow. All right. Well, do you agree with this guy? This guy, Michael Hewson, he says, there appears to be an acceptance that an Evergrande failure is more a matter of when and not if. And the real question actually is how, if any, fallout is going to be managed. Do you agree with that?
So I had not heard of this company before 2 days ago. So I hadn't evaluated them, but I did take a look at their financials. They have so much debt. They have so much debt. They have, the reason they're worried about, people are worried about them defaulting this week is because they have debt payments due, I think, tomorrow. They have like $35.9 million and they have $75.9 million of debt due tomorrow that they have to make payments on. Yikes. If they can't make payments on those tomorrow, and I think combined that's what, $110 million.
Yeah.
That, depending on the covenants and the terms, and again, this is for pretty much all companies worldwide, depending on the covenants and the terms of your debt. But if you default on one piece of debt, the other debt can be what is called being called. And if that happens, essentially that means they have to pay the full $305 billion back that they have in debt, like that. And they don't have that kind of cash.
Well, I've got something else to share here because it looks like this is 2 hours ago. This is breaking news. It's unfolding right now. You can tell. This was 2 hours ago. Al Jazeera is one of my favorite business news sources. So I went there to see what they have to say because these guys are usually pretty factual. So let me share the screen. Go right to the source. So it's saying China's Evergrande says it has resolved a scheduled payment, but
yes,
what does that mean exactly?
So I read it. I didn't read this exact article, but I read a similar article from another outlet this morning. And in that article, and this one might say something different, but in the article I read this morning, it said they have made arrangements to pay the $35.9 million payment tomorrow. But further, and that calmed the markets down and blah, 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 blah. What it also said further in the article that probably most people didn't read is they have not received any news on payments of the $75.9 million that's also due tomorrow.
Well, it's saying up here, yeah, it even says it has not. Let's see. Indebted property developer, however, has not said whether it will meet two other upcoming interest payments, including one on Thursday, which is tomorrow. That must be the one you're talking about. 75 million, did you say?
I think that's what it was. The article I read said that the 35.9 million or whatever it was, they have figured out how to pay that, but they hadn't figured out how to pay the $75.9 million one.
Wow. All right. So what can this mean for smart Chinese citizens who have invested in real estate and they were doing business with these guys? I mean, what's the fallout for them or potential fallout for them?
So this is frankly to be seen because there hasn't been a major market crash, long-term like recession in China in 20, 30, 40 years because they do have they have done so far a good job of weathering these kind of problems, the Chinese government. But I don't know if they can withstand this kind of shock. So it's to be seen. But if it does default, I don't know how China is going to escape a pretty bad recession, probably a frankly really bad one, because this company is so intertwined into everything. There's speculation that China, to punish these guys for essentially putting the Chinese economy in harm's way, to punish these guys, one thing they may do is they may save them, but it's not like in the too big to fail and the saving people like the U.S. government did.
I hope not.
It would be more like, we're going to break up your entire company and we're going to sell your company to raise some of this cash. That's some of the speculation that's going on. So
it's not going to be pleasant for the owners, the property developer.
If this happens, and I don't know what it is now, but the other day when I first saw this news breaking, their stock was down like 86% so far this year. So their shareholders have already been crushed.
I know that you don't short sale, but would now be a good opportunity to do so?
So it would have been a good opportunity to do so months ago if I short sell. Okay. Because right now, most of the gains have already, if you were short sale, most of the gains have already been there because they've lost about 86% of the value in the stock. So it would have been better then. But now there's too much uncertainty, in my opinion. And we've talked about why I don't short sale in other lives. But in this particular situation, with the uncertainty of what the Chinese government's going to do, if they're going to do anything, because there's also speculation that they're not going to do anything. They're just going to let it fail because
I don't know what else they're supposed to do. I mean,
so it's going to be very interesting to see, but there's a lot of unknowns with the Chinese government, the major potential recession, financial stuff, the intertwine of the real estate development market and the banks. There's so many unknowns here.
Yeah, that's it. You're right about the debt. Means uncertainty. So let's see. It depends on whether they can pay $83.5 million bond payment tomorrow, and then an additional $47.5 million on September 29th. Our friend Deb just texted me. That's who I was looking at on my cell phone. She needs to get in here into the chat. By the way, anybody who wants to talk with us, just come right in, and we will interact with you live. But she just asked me, do I want to go in together on a Chinese company?
Before you got on this live?
No, just now. We're on this now. Yeah, maybe, Deb. We'll see. Let's find out how we can take advantage of this. I don't think that Jason would recommend this particular company as a solid investment, though. Would you, Jason?
No. Stay as far away if you can from this investment.
Yeah, both bonds would default if Evergrande falls in the sale. Settle the interest within 30 days. So do they have a bankruptcy type of system in China like we have here in the United States?
Yes, I don't know much about it in full honesty, but they do have some similar situation. But this, to illustrate your point above, they have interest payments coming up. 2 interest payments coming up tomorrow, another on the 29th. This is what happens when you have too much debt. This is what people are freaked out with the United States government. If you have too much debt and you have the interest payments, again, this is just the interest. You're not paying down the principal. You're just paying the interest. This continues to compound and go higher and higher and higher over time. And if you have any issues whatsoever to pay your bills, it could cause an entire collapse. So this is why being huge companies with huge amounts of debt are so dangerous. This is one reason right here.
Okay, good to know. Well, we will definitely keep an eye on this company to see what happens. I genuinely wish them luck. I don't know how they're going to come up with all that kind of money in that short amount of time.
Yeah, and even if they do, let's hope that they do come out of it well, which we do hope. The Chinese government is going to crush them.
Yeah, they're a little mad, I bet. The Chinese government doesn't really seem to take this kind of thing very well. Hell, I don't know if we would take it very well, but I wouldn't really mess with the Chinese side.
No.
All right.